guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Micah Jowers with Jowers Family Travels, and I thought it would be cool to do a little tips on cruising with a toddler. My 3-year-old Cova has now been on 2 cruises. He went on one in 2018 when he was about 14 or 15 months old. He went again last year in 2019, and then we were supposed to actually be on the Carnival Mardi Gras here in December 2020, but we all know how 2020 went and cruising was canceled, so we're now rebooked to go to Alaska in August of 2021. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to give you guys some tips and tricks that Robert and I kind of learned on our experiences with taking him in those 2 different kind of stages of just being after one and just literally learning to walk on the cruise, and then last year with him being older and really able to walk and run and play and enjoy the kids clubs. So I'll kind of get into these. They're not really in any particular order. I don't even know really how many I have. It's just quite a few of them there that I thought I would talk to you guys about. So I guess I'll kind of start with on your way to the cruise port. We live in South Carolina, and both of the times we cruised out of Miami. So we could fly, but we just don't see any point in flying. It costs a lot more. We can get down there pretty quickly. So sorry about that, my dog's in the house. So one of the things that I would really recommend is give yourself plenty of time to get there. It's about a 12-hour drive from our house to Miami, and we usually split that up into 2 days. We'll drive usually to about the Orlando, Melbourne, Florida area and get a hotel for the night, and then get up the next day. So it's an easy drive the rest of the way. It's usually about 4 more hours to the port the next day. To the next day, we will get a hotel the night before. So we're technically leaving, say our cruise leaves on a Sunday, we'll actually leave our house on Friday. We'll get a hotel room Friday night, get a hotel room in the port of call or Miami the night before, and then get up on Sunday morning and go. Just give ourselves plenty of time to get there. Kind of on that, when you are driving and you have a little one, so far we've taken him when he's 2 and 15 months, your pit stops will be longer. We actually made it from here to Orlando with only 2 stops. But those stops were kind of long. We would stop, and one of our favorite places to stop and let Cova stretch his legs and do stuff is Chick-fil-A, because they have the indoor play places. I don't know if they'll continue to do that after the pandemic, but the indoor play area, so he can eat, get his belly full, and then just play and play and play until he's tired. And most of the time he'd take a nap once we got back in the car. Or we'll stop at, if it's pretty weather, we'll stop at a rest area that has a lot of room for him to kind of run around and just let him do that. And typically we are stopped for about an hour, maybe a little bit more, but it's totally worth it to make that ride a little bit easier. So then once you're on the ship, the number one thing I don't think parents with toddlers know is that if they are not completely potty trained, they cannot get in the pools on the ships. I think there's one cruise line that has a special area for kids that aren't potty trained, but it's very small. But they cannot get in the pools, do the water slides, do the splash area if they are not fully potty trained. That's one thing you really need to know. And if you have a kid that loves water, maybe you should wait until they're fully potty trained. We're still working on Cova. He's 3. So we're kind of using cruising as a thing to be if you want to get on the pool or get in the pool on the cruise ship, you have to use the potty. Another thing is if they're not potty trained, make sure you pack plenty of diapers. Even if you overpack the diapers, it's okay, because getting them in ports is super expensive, and they do not have them on the cruise ships. Just remember that. They do not have them on the cruise ships. Another thing we found for Cova was to pack plenty of his favorite snacks. He loves fruit snacks, goldfish, things like that. We made sure we packed plenty of those for him while we were on the cruise. Another thing, sorry, I'm looking at my phone to keep my list. Another thing is to make sure you pack all of the kids' medications. The cruise ship does not have the kids' medications, so Tylenol, ibuprofen, their allergy medicine, cough medicine for them. If they have special prescriptions, make sure you get those. Diaper rash ointment, any little thing like that, your normal first aid kit, plus whatever you would need for your kid. Another thing that my husband did, which he loved to do for him, was he went to the Dollar Tree or Walmart and got dollar Matchbox cars, those little tiny ones, and he kept enough to give him a new one every day of the cruise, so that he had a new toy that would kind of keep him distracted every day. Like, especially if we were trying to sit down to eat, we would wait till right before dinner to give him that, which kind of goes into this next one of, if you have a little one with you and you're in like the main dining room, do not think that you're going to get through the whole meal without possibly having to get up. There were many times Robert and I had to switch off while one of us was eating and the other was entertaining Cova. You may have to get up and like leave the restaurant. We did that on one of the formal nights, or at least I did. Like, I had finished eating my food and I took Cova out of there because he was being completely, like, he was distracting and not being very good. I know some people are going to be like, well, it's my kid's vacation too. I understand that, but it is not fun to try and entertain a child while they are screaming, not happy, want to get down, and don't want to be sitting there. So just know, if you have to leave the table, it's no big deal. I'm sure plenty of parents have to do that. Okay, so next on the list, don't overschedule yourself during the day. Don't think that you can do every single little thing that you want to do on the cruise or with the kid or in the port, because sometimes their little bodies just can't handle it like we can. Like, they can't go and go and go and go and go like we can do. So just know that you may not be able to do everything you want to do, and that kind of goes into, don't set your expectations like super high. If you've been on a cruise before you had kids, know that this is a completely different ball game when it comes to cruising. Robert and I have never been tired on a cruise before, and that first cruise when Cova was 15 months old, we were tired. We were so tired, like chasing him around, being right there with him, pushing the stroller, doing all of that stuff. You definitely get tired and it's different. It's fun, but it's definitely tiring. So speaking of strollers, making sure you have a good fold up umbrella stroller. You're really gonna want that. Like, when he was 15 months old, we used it around the ship a lot to move him around, but especially in ports. We didn't use it on this last cruise for the ship. He walked around and did that stuff a lot, but we did in port. So on the ship, we didn't really use it when he was 2, but in port we did, unless he was really tired, because the stroller was really good for him to nap in. Make sure you have plenty of sippy cups. So we took 2, somehow we lost 1. We really should have taken 3 so that you have one. Like, my son's big on wanting to drink like water with the flavor in it, or chocolate milk. And we would sometimes have one, and you know, the rooms most of the time have the little refrigerators in them, so you can keep stuff in there. So that. Make sure you have plenty of sunscreen. There's nothing that can ruin a vacation more than a sunburnt toddler. Thank goodness, like, Cova is like his daddy and tans pretty easy, but just slathering those babies in that sunscreen, you cannot put too much on them. Plenty of sunscreen. Before you leave the house, so you have it on the cruise ship, because you know you don't have internet or can't use your phone, download your kids' favorite movies and TV shows so that you do have maybe something to distract them once they are like sitting down at dinner that night, or you're wanting to sit through a show. If you can get headphones for them so that they can watch that if they're not entertained by the show, no, you can do that. Download those movies and TV shows before you leave. I felt like I overpacked for Cova on the cruise. I ended up going through all of his clothes. So if that cruise ship or cruise line you're with has a self-service laundry, don't be afraid to use that self-service laundry. I always pack dryer sheets and pods to wash clothes with, because you just don't know. That way you can pack a little bit lighter. You can do your laundry. No one wants to do laundry on vacation, but it makes it a little bit easier because kids are messy. You know, when he would eat, or if we were in the port that day and he wanted to play, or he got something on him playing on the beach, I could take those clothes and wash them once I had used them all. Make sure, like along those lines of being in port, make sure you pick excursions that are kid friendly. I don't know how things are gonna go once COVID is over and what the cruise lines are gonna do, but some of our best days with Cova was just easy beach days. Taking him to the beach because he loved to play in the water and the sand. He loved that. When he was 15 months old, one of our stops was San Juan, Puerto Rico. He did great, but that was a lot of pushing a stroller and not a lot to keep him entertained. He fell asleep in the stroller while we were looking at one of the forts, but it just wasn't like as fun for him. But when they're that age, I think it's a little easier. This last time when he was 2, we definitely had to make sure we had things that kept him entertained. And I think One of the days was Grand Turk, so we spent the whole day on the beach. In Aruba and Curacao, we went to the beach. And we didn't even really get off the cruise ship very much when we were in La Ramona, so we just didn't do a whole lot there. We got out, walked around with him in the stroller, but that was it. So just look for things that you know your kid will enjoy and be fun, and maybe try not to plan where you're gone the whole time the ship is in port so that your kid's not overtired. So if you're cruising with Carnival on some of their newer ships, so the Carnival Vista, Horizon, Panorama, and I think the Carnival Mardi Gras, all have what they call the family harbor area. The family harbor area, I think it's on deck 2 on most of those ships, have like interior rooms, ocean view rooms, some have balcony rooms and suites. If you can afford to stay in one of the family harbor rooms, which we did last year when Cova was 2, it really is worth that little bit of extra money. We were in an interior room and we were just right down the hall from the Family Harbor Lounge, which is the area where they do like continental breakfast. They have video games in there for the kids to play, board games, an ice cream machine. So we were right down the hall and could go get ice cream whenever we wanted. And also chocolate milk. Whenever we wanted to go get Cova chocolate milk, which is something he wants as soon as he gets up in the morning, it was right down the hall. It was super convenient than having to go from like deck 2 all the way up to Lido to get that and then come all the way back. I mean, it was right down the hall. So if you can afford, or it's something that you guys want to look into, like getting that family harbor room on those cruise ships that have it, definitely worth it. We had a family harbor room booked on Mardi Gras, but you know, that one got canceled, so we didn't get to do that one. Kind of along those same lines, on the very first cruise we did with him back in 2018, we did a balcony. And the reason, like, we saved up to do the balcony, and that cruise was actually rebooked from when I actually found out I was pregnant with Cova. I was supposed to go on a cruise. We rebooked it to the following year, and we were able to do a balcony. Having that extra space, especially when Cova was learning to walk on that first cruise, helps tremendously. Not to mention, if he's laying down to take a nap or goes to bed kind of early that night, you can still sit out on the balcony and not feel like you're just kind of trapped in the room, which is what happened when we were on the Horizon. And if Cova would fall asleep early, one of us would have to stay in the room with him and we couldn't see anything. We'd have to turn the TV on or something, but that also kind of distracted Cova. So if we had a balcony, we could have sat outside. If you're doing another cruise line besides Carnival, that's the only one we've done so far, know that every cruise line has different rules for age limits on the kids clubs and if they need to be potty trained or not. Right now, as far as I know, Carnival is the only one that will change your kids' diapers. So from 2 and up, they will change their diapers depending on to a certain, I think, weight range. They will change your kids' diapers. So Carnival's only one. 2 and up can go into the kids clubs. A lot of the other cruise lines do 3 and up, and they have to be fully potty trained. So just know, make sure you do your research when you're looking into the different cruise lines, what their rules are for the kids clubs. Speaking of kids clubs, Cova loved to go to the kids club. Don't feel like you're just taking them there to drop them off so you can have time. I mean, you do get your time like with your significant other or to have fun and do whatever you want to do. But one night they had a jungle party and they painted his face like a lion, no, a tiger. He was a tiger that night. He did not want to take that face paint off. There was one lady, I wish I could remember her name, but she was from Trinidad and Tobago on the Carnival Horizon last year in 2019. And anytime he would see her around the ship, he would run and give her a hug. And we would say, do you want to go to the kids club or do you want to stay with mommy and daddy? And he would say kids club. So anytime he'd say kids club, we take him up to the kids club and drop him off. Or if he said, I want to stay with mommy and daddy, he would stay with us. But he had a blast at the kids club. Another thing I think is really cool, my parents told me to put this one in here, is if you can take an extra set of hands, like grandparents, I have had on the first cruise we went on, my mom and dad went, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law went, so it's nice to have extra sets of hands to run around and grab someone or even say, hey, we'll take him for a couple hours so you guys can go see a show or sit down for dinner. And then the second cruise, this past November in 2019, my parents went with us. So again, really nice to have that extra set of hands, or like Robert and my dad could go sit at the brewery and do the brewery tour or go drink some beer while my mom and I had Cova, and then vice versa. They would keep him so my mom and I would do things, or Robert and I could go do things while mom and dad did things. So it was just really fun to have someone there, and they also get to experience this fun stuff with their grandson. All right, so the last thing I have on my list here, I think it's the most important one to remember. Just have fun and enjoy watching your toddler experience these things for the first time. I had so much fun just watching Cova play on the beach, play with his daddy, play with his grandparents that were on the cruise with us. Just have so much fun doing these things. Those are some of the best memories we made, was going on these trips. Kind of, you know, sad 2020 messed things up and we didn't get to go on the one this year, but we have a great one planned for 2021. We actually have 2 cruises planned for 2021. We're going to Alaska in August with my parents. Our first cruise with him by ourselves will be on the Norwegian Encore out of Port Canaveral. So that'll be our first time trying a new cruise line, so we're really excited about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, or if anyone wants me to, I don't know, type something up for them and send it to them, just let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I can get some more videos out. If you guys enjoyed the tips video, just let me know and I'll try and come up with some more, like maybe tips for traveling just in general with toddlers, and what I found is easiest with Cova, because since he's been very small, I have not slowed down. We just go places, do stuff. He's great in the car because I like to go and do things, so we've just taken him so many places. Thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and also share it to let other people know, you know, what it's like to cruise with a toddler and what tips and tricks maybe that they didn't know about. All right, thanks guys. Bye.